don't want to wake the Karens up, so that's why I'm whispering. There's a lot of dogs around here in this part of town. Dozens of them. I just don't feel like dealing with them. Them waking up, and because of course their owners leave them outside regardless of the temperature or the weather. So I'm just trying to be quiet till I get down by the railroad tracks. That house used to be red bricked. They painted it like a gray color over the summer. Well, the last few years. I don't even know why I started recording so early. Like, I'm not in Clinton yet. I was in Roy, now I'm in Sunset. This is technically Sunset. That is such a weird house. It's such a weird fucking house. I think the original people that lived there, sectioned it out. I think because it looks like a lot of fucking people live there. Like they're renting individual rooms as units or something. That whole area of town is weird because there's a house out front. A cop used to live there, and I was always really afraid as a kid to walk by his house because I always thought I was going to get, because when you're a kid, from things I've heard from people and watching shows like Cops, cops won't bother you unless they feel. Let me rephrase that. They generally won't bother you. That doesn't mean that some of them aren't assholes. I was always afraid to walk by there as a kid because I thought I was going to get arrested for whatever, for being an annoying kid, or he's going to. And I mean, it's like I was always afraid because I did do up to no good things. I would skip class. I would turn my assignments in late. It's shit that is relegated to the school that the cops would have zero involvement in. But when you're a kid, you don't fucking know that. You're just like, oh. He knows that I'm intentionally, because there's a point when my parents were divorced, I would go to class late. I would sleep in. I would go for a long walk to clear my head because I was like, I just don't feel like going. I just don't feel like it. And I would walk to school. Then I would finally get there. I think that was in 6th grade, not 5th grade. Yeah, that was 6th grade. My last year there at Fremont, which I'm going to have to film at because they're supposedly going to demolish that school because of boundary changes. But I don't know if it's boundary changes relegated to just like the school boundary, because I'm like, what does that even mean? Does that mean, that part of Sunset is now Roy or something? Because it didn't seem to me like they were all that clear about it, concise about it. Oh, there's 2 shitty apartments for rent. One says for lease, though, with a fancy sign. I knew the guy that bought those apartments and they were derelict for a long time. That first one there, because I guess it caught fire. Or no, the last one caught fire. The first one was abandoned for a long time. I mean, you could literally walk up and some of them, the doors were unlocked. You could go in and check it out, because back when I was in, I think it was middle school or early high school, one of the friends, I don't consider him a friend, his name was Rick. We call him Rick the micro prick. Micro dick prick, because he was an asshole. He was like, when we were together, me, him, and I think it was Fred who lived down here. He still lives down here. Because we were always talking about those apartments. Oh, because we would hang out there because they're abandoned. And he was like, "Do you want to see the inside?" And I'm like, "Do people still live there? Are people squatting there? Are they generally abandoned?" He's like, "Yeah, they're abandoned." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sure they're locked." No, it doesn't matter. We just went right up to a front door, turned the knob, it went open. So he kicked it open. He pressed with his foot and pushed and kicked, and it opened. And I was like, and I plead the fifth. Yeah. So this other friend, Rick, the micro dick prick is what we call him, because he's an asshole. Probably still is an asshole. He's the type of friend who's always a hanger-on, who has no other friends of his own. So he always has to come to you for entertainment when he's bored, and nobody liked him. He's the one friend, and nobody considered him a friend. I think our mutual friend Fred was nice and considered him a friend because Fred is nice. And Fred was one of the younger ones. He's about 2 or 3 years younger than me, and about 3 or 4 years younger than the other friend who was older than me by 2 years. So, it was like he was like a lost dog, a lost puppy. Just follow you, but he was an asshole. Nobody liked him because it was always his way or the highway. And you think, well, if we shut him down and say no, we already have an agenda for the day. That used to make him upset, and he would go home. When we were all really young, his mom came over with him one time, and he was red in the face. It looked like he was either yelling or crying, probably fake crying. And she's like, My son just came home upset, and, I sent him over there to, you know, socialize and hang out with other boys his age and stuff, and he's getting ganged up upon and made fun of. Like, literally, all we said was, no, we have our own plan for the day. And all of us were there as witnesses. And the mom, she was like, oh, honey, you probably, you probably just misinterpreted what they were saying. She didn't apologize for accusing us of bullying or call him out on that. All she said was, oh, you probably just misinterpreted. She didn't make him apologize. She didn't tell him, if there's something you want to do, you need to voice your opinion or make a suggestion, and the group will agree or disagree. That's how it fucking works. As little boys, that's how it worked all the time. And it's always majority rules. And if you're not part of that, okay, bye. Maybe that's just how it was with and it was mainly my school friends. If I wasn't down to do what the majority wanted to do, they went off and they did their thing. They weren't going to waste any precious moments of recess or lunch break quarreling and debating. This kid, he's like, because we used to hang out at these apartments. I walked by down the stairs there, not the stairs, the tracks. There's a set of 3 apartments. The one closest to the tracks was abandoned for a very long time. And I say abandoned because it looked in deplorable shape. It wasn't dilapidated, but it just looked like it was unkempt. Weeds everywhere. Grass was not watered or cut. No cars parked there, so that should kind of tell you at least nobody's squatting there who at least has a car or who may have been a former tenant or whatever. So, where the fuck am I walking? Because I'm all the way down here. That's fine. I guess I'll walk around. I'll walk up to around Kohl's or whatever. I'll waste some time. Anyway, his name is Rick. I think I already said that on here. So I have like Alzheimer's so bad. I can't remember. His name's Rick. We would call him Micro Dick Prick. There's a reason we would call him Micro Dick. Because even at age 11, 12, 13, 14, when you're supposed to be maturing, and we're early high school, late middle school age, so we're like 13 to 15. He was very small. And it's not like it was some common known fact, like, oh, everybody knows. No, because we had gym, we had a shower, we noticed things. There's always the dudes that don't measure up that do all the talking. So that's kind of how that nickname got around. I like how dead this street is, though. That's nice. But those apartments were abandoned for some time. And he's like, oh, if you want to see him, I can get you in anytime. It was me, Fred. I think it was just me and Fred, my Clinton friend. When I actually, the first and only time I went up and actually saw what the buildings looked like. This is over 20 years ago. So I think I was 15. And I think Micro Dick was my age. He was also 15. I think Fred was 13. So that's, 13 or 12. Because we used to hang out with his older brother, and he would hang out with us, kind of as a consequence. And he's like, oh, I could show you. It's really cool inside. And I kind of wanted to see what the inside looked like, to be honest. Because it's very obvious it's been abandoned for a long time. I mean, that first apartment was abandoned for at least a couple of years. More than a year is a long time. It's not like it's not like the owners and the tenants withdrew just a few months ago and was in the process of being bought out by the bank. So he takes us up there. Hey, there's a cat. Huh. Meow. There's cats down here. So he takes us. There's more cats over there. You see the reflective eyes. He takes us up there to one of the apartments. And now it smells like smoke. And the door's already open. It's like open ajar. So someone had already gone and gotten it unstuck or whatever. So he's like, oh, the stores, they're all open. They're already open. Nobody lives here. Which I didn't think anybody's living there, but I didn't even think at the time about squatters or homeless people or people who still have a key who are still living there but just not, paying utilities or rent, not getting charged. I've known many situations with people like that. They, for whatever reason, they remain living in their situation. They didn't pay rent, they didn't pay utilities, but they, are those cat's eyes over there that's reflecting? Yeah, but so we go up in there and the place is a fucking mess. And these are those apartments just before, in Sunset before you enter Clinton, before the tracks on 6,000. It's the very last apartment on the top on the left. If you're facing the street, it's on your right. If you're facing apartments, it's on the top upper left. It was a fucking mess. I had never seen someone's cohabitation, their domicile, their home, be in such disarray. there's like, it looks like the place was ransacked. And I can't remember. I think I did walk around and look, like, here in the rooms. I wanted to get the fuck out there because I had, even as a 15-year-old, I had a feeling that, a spooky feeling that whoever was there ransacking the place, going through it, would be back. And I didn't want to deal with that when they, inevitably returned. So I just remember, I think there was even broken glass. There was just clothes everywhere. This is in the early 2000s, by the way. 2000, 2001, so I might have been 16. Ancient, like old-looking clothes, like from what looks like they're from the 90s or 80s. Bags of trash everywhere. And I think I remember there was broken glass on the floor, like in the hallways. Like they busted out the windows, because there's no windows in the hallway. It's in the bedrooms and the living room. So it's like they busted out those windows and dragged the glass and spread it all over the floor, which really makes no sense, but there you are. There you go. I think we're only there for like 2 or 3 minutes, because me and Fred both wanted to get the fuck out of there. Rick was more than happy to stay and hang out. He thought it was a cool, and I'm like, this is not a cool hangout, because I expected they would just be vacant. Like, when people move out, they take all the crap with them, and then the company comes and they bring painters and they paint the walls white, and they steam cleaner, they change the carpets. It looked like someone maybe still lived there, but they had left in a hurry. And now remember, because the door was already ajar, I physically remember it. He didn't have to break in to get in. It was already open. So I'm wondering if that was always the case. Like, the items there to me look like junk, but to someone else, the, former occupant might have valued those things and thought it was, their treasures or something. Turn this light off. And then maybe if they had the key still and it worked, the locks weren't changed, then I could see them leaving it there and being like, it'll be safe there for now until I can come back and get everything else. But I just remember when I went in there with Rick and Fred, everything looked trashed. The building looked trashed. The building looked trashed. The inside of the apartment looked trashed. There was discarded clothes and garbage on the floor everywhere. So there's that. So I really, at the time, I felt, honestly, and I even said, this place is a mess. This is a fucking disaster. I said, it honestly looks like one of those drug hovels that you see in HBO or MTV. And then you got cops, cops like to park there. I don't think that's a cop car, though. I don't know who that is. People will park over there for, when they're camping, they park their vehicles there. And then, of course, when they do their drug deals, they park over there. I already got you on camera, hun, so... And then there is a Pokestop at this park here, John G. I wish I could show you real time me playing Pokemon Go on here. There'd be no way for me to record it. I'd have to have like 2 phones, one to film and one to play it. I heard the Sunset Mayor died. I wonder how that happened. And supposedly he was only 68. I thought he was at least like 73. At least, or older. Whoever steps in his interim, I hope the fuck it isn't Chud Bangiter. Let it at least be former Mayor McFarland. She at least knows what the fuck she's doing. She's like, finally, I can leave this shitty post at City Beautification and do my real calling. These bathrooms are really popular for people to do things in. I wonder if anybody rented my apartment. Because mine was up there at the very end, at the top. And it looks like that side of the apartment is dark. So I don't know if anybody rented it yet. I'm sure they did, because I contacted them last month or the month before and inquired about, and they said they didn't have any openings. So that means somebody had to have rented it. Here's Fremont Elementary, where I went to grade school at. It's really wild to me. What I hear is that district has changed the boundaries. They've moved the boundaries. And so this school is no longer going to be used. And I've had so many weird dreams at this school where I'm back here as a kid. Then I've had dreams where we're adults in this, and we have to, like, take this new adult class or something. It's just very weird. I think my high school / college dreams are even weirder because they're it seems like I'm always in some kind of building that's like a maze or a labyrinth, It's very difficult to navigate. It's like just a series of how, like, the one building I think is like high school kind of looks like, actually might actually be the junior high dream, because most oftentimes my junior high school dreams are like Sunset Junior High, but it's not the one that's being built, it's the old one where they had those weird the old gold brick walls, and it was always pyramid. What does this say? Farewell party. Drawings. Oh, they are going away. They're going to be gone. Yep, it's real. A high school dream is usually in Northridge, and that looks basically the same. Basically. So I think, because I think I have two different versions of the recurring high school dream, where I'm basically the Northridge one. I actually find class and talk to people. The one that looks, and I'm thinking it might actually be college and not high school. It's like an older looking building on the inside, and the walls are like that weird cream or gold brick color that look kind of stale. And they have those weird, like, carpeted office walls from like the 60s or 70s. Oh, look what's happened. The RV that was always parked there, not RV Bum, by the way, is gone. And then that fucking UTA Pararider that was always here is gone. And they also trimmed the tree. So that's amazing. The parking lot actually looks nice. Not that it'll ever get used. But, yeah, so what was I saying? Okay, so, and I think the other high school, and I think it's actually college, a college dream, because when I'm not inside a building and wandering around a maze of offices, corridors, I'm almost always on a bus en route to college in Ogden. I can tell it's Ogden because even though in my dream a lot of things are like not where they should be, they're in different parts. In my dream, Weber State is a lot closer into actual Ogden, like right there on 25th Street or whatever, like where all the shit is. Like you would turn up like you're turning up by the Bigelow, and then there's like this fancy, and it's probably the Bigelow in my dream, But it's like you pull up and then the bus gets off at like this valet parking thing, and that's the main entrance to the college. Because in the dream, that makes sense, because that's all you would know. Unlike real life, the college is all the way, it's up in its own fucking zip code, its own area. And that's it. I've had dreams where I've walked around the college, but it was like the weird commons area. It's like you could tell in your dream. In my dream, I could tell. Oh, this looks familiar. This looks like the student commons. This looks like the commons. Because I can't remember if the commons got redesigned or not in the last 10 years. Well, the last time I went to school at Weber was in 2009, so it's been over a decade. But it was like the commons area merged with the cafeteria because there were places to sit and eat and big windows. And if you've been to Weber State, if you've been inside the old language English building, which I think it's also has history, but I can't remember what they actually called the building. It's either the history building or English building. It was very old. The outside was very old, dark brown brick. The inside had that weird, like cream gold colored brick, and then also the walls on the upper floors had that weird 70s brownish carpeting. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, traffic's starting to liven up. It's not even that late. It's early. I guess I'll just walk straight ahead. It's fine. I'm not done talking yet. So, I think the other high school dreams really are college dreams because the rooms match. Although they do look like the rooms I've seen in like a lot of the bottom floor classrooms in Sunset Junior High. The old school had that cream yellow moldy looking color. So that's why I'm like, well, maybe could also be middle school. But see, the thing is, the middle school ones in my dream, it's telling me you're at Roy Junior High. I've been inside of that school twice in my life. The first time I was trying to get information how the fuck I could transfer from Sunset to there because I hated Sunset. At the second time, I think I was meeting with the custodian about a summer job. This is back when I was like 18 or 19. Might have been a bit older than that. And that was years ago. That was years ago before they redesigned the building. Is that a fucking flag? The fuck is that? Oh, they are flags because Memorial Day. Memorial Day is coming up. We have a big trip we have to plan. Seems like we always do our Salt Lake trip on Memorial Day. Maybe that's what we'll do. I want to make an early day of it, though, so that we're out there early and Yeah, it's the American flag. It's because Memorial Day is coming up. It's to honor veterans, fallen veterans, warriors, wounded warrior, all that stuff. Okay, good. I'm glad it's just the American flag. I was like, what is that? Because it was dark. I couldn't really tell. The flag's all messed up. That looks so pretty at night in wintertime. You can see all the little lights. They have these little amber golden lights that look so pretty. I know it's a funeral home, a mortuary, but at least they try. In their trees, I think they put lights in them. So that looks pretty. So I talk about all the dreams. Okay, so the junior high dream, it's not Roy Jr. I've only been in there once, and that was the last time I was there. I was in the custodial wing of the building, and that was like a decade ago. The first time I was in there, I was in the main floor. And then I had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, okay, they asked, because I was like, can I get the transfer process going? Or I think I'm a new student. Because I thought you could just go there and give them your student ID, sign up, and then have your parents, blah, blah. It doesn't work that way. You need to show utilities or whatever, that an address that you live in Roy. And that has like your name or your parents' name. And I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. Can I go to the bathroom real quick? Then we can call my dad or something, or my mom. And because they know all this stuff. Because they're like, oh, because I gave them my number. And I can't find your student ID, hon. And I was like, oh, maybe they didn't put me in the system. Like, what if we called my dad? Maybe he could get the ball going. Because I didn't want them to think I was just skipping class, even though that's exactly what I was doing. I didn't want them to think that. But I was like, let me go to the bathroom. I'll come back to attendance lady or the office. Maybe we can conference call my dad. And I don't know, whatever. I ended up just leaving and asking my dad. And he's like, I'm not putting you in a different fucking school. We don't have property over there. Blah, 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 blah. So I ended up staying at Sunset. And it's also this bullshit. Oh, you can't run away from your problem. You actually can. In some cases, it's a viable solution to run away from your problems. I would honestly recommend facing your fears, your problems, and then you conquer it. That's what I would recommend first and foremost. But sometimes running away does help. For example, if your city is so shitty and crime-laden, you're never going to fix it. You're not going to reach people's hearts and have them just go, oh my gosh, he's right. Let's interlock hands and sing Kumbaya. No. I mean, that's an extreme example. But people don't change like that. And there's some situations where it's better to just flee. If it's someone you know who's like unhinged enough to attack you or harm you or your family, absolutely. This situation, of course, wasn't anything like that. It was just I didn't like my school because my peers were assholes and I wasn't an angel. Believe me, I was not an angel. But my peers at Sunset Junior High, most of them were fucking assholes. Most of the teachers there were cunts. I can count on maybe 3 fingers teachers I absolutely adored there. 4. I liked Mr. Rush, he was handsome. He replaced Mrs. Rencher. I need to find out whatever happened to him because he was. Anyway, second one was Mrs. Gumbrecht, who taught the life skills. I liked her. Third one was my art teacher, Miss Gardner. She's awesome. Fourth one, I think her name is Miss Oliver. Her name was Miss Fulton when I had her, but I think her name's Oliver. Tammy Oliver. I gotta say, I don't want to sound weird, but some of these teachers, like Miss Oliver, when I went back as a 31-year-old or 32-year-old janitor, she recognized me. She was like, don't tell me I had you, right? I was like, yeah, in 1997, 98. And I was like, she was like, wait, what's her name? And I said, Jay, gave her my last name. She said, oh my gosh, you're a child, you're a man now. She looked great. She looked really good. But, I'm not trying to be, mean about, because I could go on and on and on. It's like, list the things you like instead of list everything you hate. I think hopefully all the, crappy people don't teach there. I think there's one teacher I know who was a bitch when I was going there in 9th grade. She still has a job there, unfortunately. And I'm not going to name names because I have nothing positive to say about her. But she still has a job there. Last time I checked, which was about almost a decade ago.